Hi, I'm Nando. My cat Mortimer is hanging out over my shoulder. I'm here to answer your questions. This is a Q&A video. I asked this question on the Nando cut. It's Q&A time. Give me your cues. The more original, the more likely I am to answer them. I got quite a few. I'm going to go through as many as I can here. And this is going on YouTube. These are also going to go on TikTok. I am a TikTok at Matt Nando Kelly because I had to make a new one because my old one broke and TikTok won't help me fix it. But it's okay. It's our TikTok. We're cool. I mean, we're not cool. I'm sure there's a lot of weird things going on with the company. But either way, that is the new TikTok. So go there and watch clips of Nando V movies, Nando cut videos, all that cool stuff. Okay. All right. First one. I've got them all on my phone here. This is from eAbrams00. This is what's one MCU prediction you were right about that you wish wound up being wrong. So let's say, okay, because I really made like one that I could think of genuine MCU prediction, and that is the Rhodey was probably a Skrull thing, which I don't dislike that prediction. I'm not like upset that I was right about it. I wish that it was handled in a better way, but I think everything about that prediction is fine. If the Secret Invasion show is cool. I even did like a kind of pitch video for Secret Invasion on my Nando V Movies channel. That was kind of what I think you could do with that show. It changed a lot of what happened in the original show and did use Skrull Rhodey in a way that I think was interesting. But there's also a lot of smaller things that I've mentioned that I've been like, oh, this character would be good to see here. And it's not always like one-to-one, but it's really two. And I don't think either of these characters really worked. And I wished that they had done them, not necessarily the way I wanted, but just like differently, or I wish I'd been wrong about that because I don't think that they were worth it. The first one is MODOK. I do think having MODOK in Ant-Man 3, like Quantumania, is gonna end up being kind of a big waste. And like, you think about it, even if MODOK was great in that movie, the movie still wasn't very good. I don't think a great MODOK would have saved it. So either way, you would have this character that's kind of locked in bad movie jail where they don't make more appearances. You don't see them again in the future, even though MODOK is supposed to be one of those villains that keeps coming back. And like, he's got a new team where he's a henchman for somebody, or him and another guy trying something crazy. Like, MODOK should be a very repeatable villain. So the fact that he is stuck in bad movie jail, I don't like. I also don't think the version of him from that movie was particularly good. And I think, I can't remember what they were, but like, I think people have made a lot of cases that like that MODOK didn't really need to be MODOK. It could have been any number of other Ant-Man villains or just like Marvel villains, because like, besides the fact that he had a big head, there's really not much else about him that's like interesting or makes him MODOK-y. Especially because we don't even see that much cool stuff that his Doomsday chair does either. Because like, that's supposed to have everything in it, all kinds of cool lasers, and it does some stuff, I guess, but nothing that I don't think you could give a more generic villain, let's say. Like, I think that character could easily have just been Darren Cross or something with like a robot. So you make him Crossfire, make him that version of the character and give him like a big, you know, gun or I don't know. Just like, the MODOK-ness of this character didn't feel like it was there. He didn't have the ego that you want from MODOK, and he wasn't as weird looking as MODOK should be. I know that sounds strange, but like, he wasn't as weird looking, and he wasn't like a leader in the way that MODOK's supposed to be, kind of the most annoying leader. It just didn't have it. The other one is the Wrecking Crew and She-Hulk, which I think I called in my maybe Defenders video. One of the videos I made talking about how the Wrecking Crew should have been the villains of the Defenders. I mentioned that they'd be good for like a She-Hulk show or something like that. I don't necessarily think they were like horrible on that show or anything, but they do not feel like a good use of the Wrecking Crew. They're another character group that I think in the future we might just reboot, because it is more fun to have them as actual villains who like rob a bank and cause trouble for the heroes, as opposed to like guys She-Hulk can beat up. And I'm not saying she shouldn't be able to beat them up, but like, for them being the goofy joke characters, it's not that they can't do it, but it feels like they're just a little too useful for that. Like, I'm sad to see they were burned on She-Hulk, and like, it's not burned because like, obviously they could come back, but they're not like a real problem. They're not like super dangerous. So those are my main two. I'm sure looking back there's others I can think of, but Rhodey being a Skrull I think is fine. I think it just didn't work because the show didn't work. And then both MODOK and the Wrecking Crew in their individual things, I don't think either of them lived up to what can be fun about those characters in the comics. So good question. This is from Mason _. The X-Men, whichever roster you feel the most confident asking for, have sat down for a game of Dungeons and Dragons. Who is the DM and who is playing what species class combo? Mason, I am so sorry. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons. I played Baldur's Gate. I'm aware of some of the classes. I've actually seen people do like a Dungeons and Dragons setup where you classify the different X-Men characters into what they would be in the Dungeons and Dragons world, but I really just don't know enough about it. I'd say I don't know who would do it. Who's like, like Scott's a leader, but he's not like a fun like story. I mean, like Morph or something, right? That feels like right up Morph's alley. Beast is the other one that I think would be a good DM. From what I know about DMing, I'm looking at like my action figures over there, like Nightcrawler. I think is you need someone who can tell a story, right? You need someone who can improvise. You need someone that's smart, someone that can memorize all the rules. You know what, like Gambit maybe would be good at it. I don't know if Gambit would be good at it though, but Gambit should be the game guy, right? Like he should be the one who's the best at like being a DM. And then there's obviously Magic, who was in the hell and knows magic and stuff, but I still wouldn't say that's like her deal. I would say, let's say like the 97 team played it. Who would be the DM there? I think it's either Morph, Magneto, or Beast. Probably Beast just feels like the most organized because that seems like a big part of it from what I know. As far as classes, I have no idea. But I bet it would be cool. I bet there's people that have answered this question that are better answers than I do. But I appreciate the question because I like that idea and I would love to play Dungeons and Dragons. If some people want to like have me on their stream or something, I'll play like a one shot. I'd be fun on those. But I've just never done it before. Okay, let's see another one here. This one is from DC Fridays 777. What's your favorite supporting character from the Marvel Netflix Defenders shows? And what is your favorite episode from Marvel television as a whole? Okay, that's a great question. It's almost certainly going to be a Daredevil character, right? Like, there's villains that I think I've enjoyed. Like, I enjoyed, Kilgrave on Jessica Jones. Like, that's a good character. It's hard. It feels like a cop-out to say Fisk. Fisk is probably, like, my favorite. I very much enjoyed, like, Barenthal's Punisher. I also didn't hate the Elektra on that show. But if I had to say I'm trying to think of my favorite, like, minor character, someone who's not, like, a main character on their show. It would probably end up being a villain, right? Because they're the most memorable. I mean, Marshall's character was cool, but he was just kind of cool for the reasons Marshall is cool. Think about somebody who was, like, very fun. I do remember liking Bushmaster from Luke Cage Season 2. I just thought that character had a lot of charisma. It was fun. A lot of characters looking back, like Wesley on the original season of Daredevil, he was fun. And I don't think he's like the most important character, but he does keep coming up. And every time there's a new Wesley, you're like, you're not Wesley though. I mean, Turk Barrett's the right answer, right? He's the most fun. The idea of that character, who used to be, I believe, like a sex trafficker or something. In the first episode of the Daredevil, I think after that, they kind of realized it was fun to have this guy be around. And if that was the case, we'd have to maybe solve his crimes, if I remember correctly. I like the idea of one guy who just keeps bumping into all of these characters. So I'll say him, Melvin Potter, who I talked about in my Who Should Be Season 2 of Daredevil video, fun character. And I think Colleen Wing really worked. I did not like the first season of Iron Fist. I think a lot of the supporting characters in that show were fun. The Meachams, I like those actors. But looking back, like Colleen, another one of those characters, if I could pluck from, a failed thing into another live action universe, she's one of them. The other question is my favorite episode of any of the shows. It's tough to not say X-Men 97 episode 5 because that was just awesome, right? Like that whole everything there was crazy. Even just the beginning stuff where it was like, this is what Genosha's like, everybody's having fun. Great. The episode that reintroduced Nightcrawler, you get the Cable bit, like Madeline Pryor stuff. Emma Frost is in that episode. Like, there's so many fun things, so many lines about like governments being run by terrorists. Like a lot of great moments there before everything starts getting crazy, and like some of that action was the best that series had. I really, and I think this is because I'm such a fan of sitcoms. I loved WandaVision episode 2 of season 1, the Magic Show. I think everything about it was so well done, and all of the dopey comedy beats of like him acting dumb because he had a thing in his system and it made him malfunction. It all felt so realistic. Like episode 1, I think also had that, tons of that, right? Like that someone's coming to dinner and we have to distract them because they're going to see, like that was perfect. But I think episode 2 felt more like it was its own thing. We got to see more of the Wanda and Vision working together, and that was great. And I think Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen both got to do fun things. He gets to kind of play drunk and she gets to cover for him. I just loved everything that was going on in that specific episode. Another one I really like, I think the pilot of She-Hulk is great, and I love the end credits Captain America and then like the cut to that was so funny. God, what other shows are great episodes of shows? The Bullseye episode of Daredevil where you see his whole past and Wilson Fisk kind of figures this guy out. I think Wilson Bethel plays this character very interestingly, even though I would say it's a little bit all over the place. Like, I'm really interested in what season 2 decides to do with him, because I think there are a lot of roads they could go down. Is he the victim? Is he just a pure, psychopath? Like, either way, I think we could have something fun. But I love the way they set him up. Episode 1 of season 5 of Loki with all of the Lokis, which I can't remember if that one's called Glorious Purpose or not. But the Richard E. Grant Loki is really cool. I remember that reveal being awesome. Like, it's funny looking back how many of these things I was like, oh yeah, that was great. Like, Richard E. Grant and Loki is so much fun. Yelena and Hawkeye is so much fun. So many bits from that. And then, like, I used to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't remember it incredibly well. I remember really liking the bit near the end of season 3 where Hive fought Lash. I thought that was clever. I'm sure there's something I'm forgetting, but that's my answer for that. What is my dream Justice League, my dream Avengers roster for a TV show or cartoon? This is from Jenny V8622. So for TV show, if we're doing Dream Avengers roster, then it's the West Coast Avengers or the Great Lakes Avengers. But let's say the West Coast, because like Great Lakes is its own thing. There's the roster's just the roster. I think right now in Marvel, you can do something really interesting with the West Coast characters. And like, you got a little bit of this in the Zombies show, because it's like, oh, Ant-Man's in the same city as Shang-Chi lives in. I guess he still lives there now at the end of the movie. But like, I think you do a West Coast Avengers, Kate Bishop, Shang-Chi. Katie can come too. She can be part of it. She could be like their, everyman or whatever, like regular guy in the team. Cassie, maybe. I would say she's probably the one person from the Ant-Man crew that I would want there, because I don't think we could get Paul Rudd, and I really want Wasp. And then She-Hulk, who's also a West Coaster. I'm trying to think who else was on the West Coast Avengers back in the day. Like US Agent, but he's kind of doing his own thing. Although, I mean, let's pretend that like all of them survive Secret Wars or whatever. You can have it be that like the Avengers is decide you guys are going to go to the West Coast. You're going to be the West Coast Avengers. That's how we're going to split it up. Also, like, there's not really much connecting any of you to here. Really, none of you are from New York, besides Bucky, I guess. But like, most of you are from somewhere else, so like, pick a new location. There's a lot of shit going on the West Coast that you can be involved with, and like the regular Avengers will be the East Coast Avengers. And then but then you don't want all of them, but I do think you could use Yelena and Walker. Add all those characters I said before, Shang-Chi, Cassie Lang. I mean, maybe you could do Ant-Man, but he's got too much experience for this team. She-Hulk and Kate Bishop, who I would want to move there, even though she's in New York. Like, she's a good member of the West Coast Avengers. The West Coast Avengers usually have a Hawkeye. I've got an image of the West Coast Avengers in my head. The only, like, I'm thinking like Tigra, Iron Man, but those aren't in there. So it's my dream Avengers team for TV show. Justice League is trickier. I mean, like, and I've read a fair amount of Justice League. If I get to make a TV show that was like the Justice League, but maybe didn't have to be the Justice League, I think there is, and there was potential for this because there was a cartoon of it and it was quite good, is like a Legion of Superheroes show. I think there's a lot of juice. It's a completely different concept. It's separate from everything else, so it could be canon without, disrupting all the rest of it. And it's just, those characters are so much fun. They're so goofy. They're exactly the kind of thing that James Gunn loves. And like, I'm pretty sure the Detachable Kid is usually a member of the Legion. So like, it's not like he hasn't even used any of them before. But I think that should be kind of a Justice League TV show thing. It could be a cartoon, and it could just be like the one that already exists, but I don't know. I think there's more avenues to go down. There's just so many Legionnaires. Like, it's so hard to fully, it's like the X-Men where like you can just keep digging and there's more, and there's a bunch of really cool stories. I like the idea that they're like younger, they have to create this team together and like figure out how to run it. I don't know. I like the Legionnaires. Ooh, Mason Sumi 12. Which Robin would you like them to ideally start with in the DCU? Would you already want Nightwing to exist? Yeah, so this is a huge problem that I think James Gunn has to solve. Is that if this world has been going for a while, we have to figure out what the actual timeline of like living Robins was, where we are in it. And what that probably means is we're going to have to smooth over a lot of the fun stuff for simplicity. So like, I think, they start with the Nightwing. I think that's smart. That way you get Dick Grayson in. I think you start with the dead Robin too. So you start with Jason Todd, but then it's like, okay, Tim Drake, is he the Robin? If the actual Robin that's going to be in the movie is the Damian Wayne version, like when he shows up, Tim is Robin. So that would make complete sense, is to have Tim Drake be Robin at the time. Damian Wayne comes in. Maybe Tim would be in the movie, like Brave and the Bold, mentoring Damian as well. So maybe you have both of them. But then it's okay. So what do we do with Stephanie, Cassandra, and Batgirl? Because those are the three I feel like that it becomes very difficult. Did Batgirl exist at the same time as the rest of them? Is she Oracle now? I think if Nightwing's Nightwing, Batgirl has to be Oracle already, which is fine. So I think that's what I think is more interesting about her. did Stephanie Brown happen? Is she presumed dead now? Has she come back? Like, was she ever a Robin? I like Stephanie Brown a lot. I think Stephanie Brown is a fun character, and I think she has something that none of the other Robins have, except for Damian, kind of, but she's the daughter of a supervillain. And that is like a very interesting, what if one of them becomes a Robin and like tries to turn it around and has, you know, Clue Master Dad coming in causing problems? Like, is she good? Can Batman trust her? Does she feel like she can be a Robin? Like, I feel like, and we'll talk about this a little bit, but like, James Gunn loves the villains turned heroes, anti-hero, that whole thing. Can we be better than, you know, our parents and our nature? So like, I think that is a very compelling character that I don't know if we'll have time for. And also, it's tough because she was originally brought in as like kind of Tim Drake's Catwoman, but like, and I guess you could cast a 16-year-old Tim Drake and then cast a spoiler. They should do that. Cassandra is one of my favorite members of this family, and she is so redundant when Damian Wayne gets brought into the mix, because he is a child of assassins who was trained to kill and comes to Gotham and causes all kind of problems and has like an interesting connection to Batman's legacy. And, you know, obviously they're a little bit different, but like, I think that's the one that I would have the most trouble figuring out a reason to even bother with. It's like, why are we doing Cassandra if we're doing Damian? And that's why for me, I don't really like Damian that much. I'm fine with doing Cassandra instead. So yeah, to answer your question, I think the first Robin we meet in the new DCU will be Tim Drake. Nightwing will exist already as Nightwing. Jason Todd will be dead and he'll have maybe like a less than a year of a run that we don't see, but like, he won't have been a real big presence. And I hope that there was a little bit of Stephanie somewhere in there, because I don't want us to lose her. And then, yeah, I think Barbara will have to already be Oracle, which is tough then, because it's like, okay, well then this Joker has already killed a Robin and at least, you know, shot and paralyzed Barbara, depending on like, you know, what they'd take from that book. But like, that's also the Joker's fault. Like, this Joker has put in a lot of work before we've ever seen him. And on one hand, I would like to see that built up, but on the other hand, it is kind of cool if like this Joker has just gotten it over on Batman so many times. Batman is, you know, losing his mind. Patton Gilbert. Oh no, James Gunn misunderstood the name Teen Titans. Now the team is entirely made up of teenage versions of tall and giant characters. Who's on the team? That's a great question. Okay, so we got obviously like Ant-Man. So like, if we're talking giant, we're talking like, because Loki's like a frost giant. Teen Loki would be fun. That's something that's obviously, we've seen Kid Loki, but I would want something a little bit more teenage for that. You definitely want the character Titan from Megamind, a teen version of him. So just like a nerdy kind of, I don't know, dorky, entitled, like an annoying, you know, cameraman. Let's see. I mean, you got Ant-Man. What's he like as a teenager though? We don't really know. Probably kind of a nerd. They were all nerds. That's the thing. So many of these guys, Ray Palmer, Hank Pym, Scott's up to some stuff. Bill Foster, scientist. Like, very few of them have powers as teenagers. Cassie is unique in that group. And like, I think in the comics, she has stature power. Like, her powers come from her. So it's like, she's perfect for this. Kamala, you know, good teenage character who can, and obviously we're all over the place on DC and Marvel, but like, I'm just thinking like, who are characters that can grow and shrink that are teenagers and like mostly grow. But like a lot of the ones that shrink can also grow. You know, I think Beast Boy could be on this list. I think he could qualify, because like he could be a, you know, elephant or something. That's Titanic. I think you definitely want Titano the super ape, but like a small version of him, not like tiny like in the comics now, but like littler than, you know, adult-sized Titano. Got Atlas from Marvel. He's a size changer. There's a Legionnaire that's also pretty much Atlas. I can't remember what his name is. Yeah, you got Elongated Man, Divney. That would work. Probably better than Plastic Man. So yeah, I think that's what I would want. If we put all of them together, that's a team that's bad. I do think it's interesting how many, like, there are a lot of growing and shrinking characters. Is this because of like the old books of like the tiny man who shrinks to be little, like, and like the Fantastic Voyage? Is that because this is such an old kind of science fiction trope that it was one of the first things that you thought of? Like, oh, what if a guy could fly on an ant if you were making comic books? And because yeah, that idea sticks around a lot. Ahmad is hungry asks a question that I did not prompt. What can you tell us about the elusive yet illustrious platform known as Nebula? Well, Nebula, and this is not the ad. We're not doing that. That's at the end. I will still do that. But this is just me talking about Nebula. This is something cool that's new. We have free trials now. So we have, I believe it's a 3-day free trial. You can try it out and just see all the exclusive Nebula content, see like jet lag, abolish everything, all of my older Nebula exclusive videos. You can watch my next video on Nando V Movies early. People apparently really like it. Apparently this is very popular, so I should have told you guys about this. I probably should have started the video with that, but here it is. There's free trials on Nebula, so go to go.nebula.tv/thenandocut and like sign up for them, I guess. But Nebula, it's a streaming platform. You know what I mean? If I had to actually explain it to you like the way that I would explain it to someone who just has no idea what it is, it's a streaming platform made by YouTubers. A lot of us are like video essayists, although it's very different from that now. And it's basically like YouTube and all of these platforms like have a lot of problems. We're just talking about YouTube. Like there's so much AI garbage on there, and it is genuinely kind of becoming a hassle for me to go on YouTube and try to find, like, just look up a video. If I want to look up a video about something, A, not get a bazillion shorts, and then B, not find stuff that's AI. Nothing is worse to me than having a question about like a comic book character or whatever. Like sometimes I'll be like, what was the story with, I don't know, what's like a book I read recently, like Annihilation or something like that. Like what's the lead up to Annihilation? What was going on with these characters? If I'll like try to find a YouTube video by someone discussing it, which I love because I like to hear other people talk about stuff like that. So many of those are AI now, and you listen for like a couple of minutes and you're like, damn it, it's fake. You know, so there's so much. I mean, this isn't like the pitch for Nebula, because Nebula really is like a place you can go for all your favorite YouTubers. There's no ads. You get to download the videos to like your phone, which is super handy. It's like nice, clean, simple interface. And we have control of what goes into Nebula, so you are not going to find AI nonsense on Nebula. There's also like originals, and Patrick has a short film coming out that I'm pretty excited about in like a couple of weeks, actually. So that'll be exciting. And then we have our Subliminal show that I'm sure you'll see more stuff about in the future. I don't know exactly when, but that's the thing that I worked on, and it is cool, and I'm very excited to talk more about it, but there's not a whole lot I can say right now, just because I don't know when it's coming out. This is from Andrewism. They have two. We'll do both of them. If you had an opportunity to play a role in a comic adaptation, whether DC or Marvel, who would you want to play? So I would assume this question works under the assumption that I can conceivably play this character. So like not Superman or anything like that. That's a character. I mean, like, I think there's an opportunity for a great actor to do something really cool with Multiple Man. I've talked about it a lot. He's obviously, one of my favorite characters in one of my favorite books. Like, X Factor Investigations is great. All that X Factor stuff from that era. But, like, Investigations specifically, I think is a really fun concept. But, like, if I were an actor who was like an actor, the idea of playing Multiple Man would be really fun, because it would be fun to play these different versions of a relatively grounded character. They're not that different from each other. This isn't like Kang, where you're like the stuttering Victor Timely, where you're like Jack Sparrow from the end of the Ant-Man Quantumania. Like, this is something different where, like, I think there is a little bit more room for subtlety. So that would be one. It was like one that I actually think I could conceivably play in like a thing. We're talking like play, just anybody you would like to play. I would totally voice somebody in something. I'd love to do voice acting. And that gives me a little bit more range to be people that don't look exactly like me. But then the other question that Andrew asked, likewise, you have the opportunity to write and direct a comic adaptation. Whose story would you want to tell the most? I do think the answer here is like, I mean, there's a lot of good answers here. There's a lot of good X-Men that I think have fun stories to tell. But I think the answer is, and it's one that I know a lot of people, have said, and I think I've said before, is Booster Gold is really fun. There's so much opportunity for a not very self-aware influencer superhero kind of guy right now, learning about being a hero, like learning that. I haven't watched that Chad Powers show, but I have a feeling that's probably what that's about. So like, that's a show I'd love to make. And then that's a character that I voice him. I'd love to voice Booster Gold. I'm trying to think of like a weird one-off X-Men. Like, I would like to voice Strong Guy. He's like my favorite weird, left field character, but he's got to be very Italian. Oh, so the version they had in X-Men 97 was not what I expected he would sound like. We've almost never heard Guido Carosella's actual voice in animation or anything like that. Obviously never in live action. Like, I do figure he kind of sounds a little bit more Jersey Shore than they played him in the show. So I'd love to do that. Let's say that's my answer. Who do I want to be the next big bad of the next MCU saga? Well, assuming the next MCU saga is the Mutant Saga, and like big bad, if we're saying saga, Like, I mean, part of me wants to say Apocalypse because I really like Apocalypse, but I don't think that would feel as satisfying. And also, like, Big Bad is like Kim working with all these other people. Like, Apocalypse is just Apocalypse, kind of like Thanos, I guess. That's the thing, he's a lot like Thanos. I would like for the Big Bad of the next MCU saga to be like Nimrod and the robots. I think there's a cool saga you could do. They don't even have to be like time traveling, but like a robot leader. Bastion did this in the show, I guess. But like some version of a story where the X-Men are dealing with, you know, public pressure. Right? They're fighting like Arcade or something in their movie, or Mr. Sinister, and you see in the background Senator Kelly is talking to Trask and Guy Ritchie and all these guys about like, oh, maybe we should get the Sentinel thing going on the other side of the MCU. You know, maybe Doctor Doom is doing stuff with the Fantastic Four, and Doombots become involved, and he starts inventing those, and you're seeing artificial intelligence pop up. And what you would want at the end of this phase is like all the artificial intelligence is kind of working together, but like different ones. So like Sentinels and Doombots and like Machine Man and maybe Ultron or Joe Costa or somebody else that's out there. Like, I think you could invent a bunch of different versions of AI characters, have them team up to be the bad guy. I also think that's fun because then it's like AI is the bad guy. Like, I think we're going to get a lot of media that's that in the future. And I already think we're seeing a lot of media that's trying to do that. So I don't think it's like a story that, you know, oh my God, no one's ever told that. But I do think there's something kind of fun there, especially because the mutants and the AI just hate each other, right? That's something that the comics have established now. And I like that. So that way you could have characters be doing things that kind of lead up to this, you know, big conflict, even if they're not X-Men, but they're doing AI related stuff. Like they're fighting robots or something, or like we're dealing with some space robots or something with the Guardians of the Galaxy. That would be my pick. I just think like the Sentinels, we've seen them in stuff. Maybe they'll even show up in something in the very near future, in the next year or so. But like a movie of Sentinels, it's so easy, I feel like, to see the parallels between real world political issues and just like big giant, because it originally be like, that would be crazy, big giant robots walking down the street. Like, why would anybody let them do that? They're gonna rip up the, you know, at the front of the mall and steal one mutant out of that. Like, that, people would not be cool with that. Then you look around and you're like, yeah, I can actually see that happening. I'm people would be upset, but I could still see a world where it doesn't seem as crazy as it used to. And like Days of Future Past has two interesting Sentinels, but we need to do one in the middle that's just plain old Sentinel, a big guy that's a robot. It's got a head. Like, because I think the other ones are cool in the movies, but like I want something that's like a guy. What's your favorite Marvel Legends figure in your collection? That's a great question. This one's from Pizza Time 71. So many. I love so many of my babies equally, and then others more equally than the rest. I will say my first Marvel Legend that I got, I think, I'm not positive about this. I was thinking about this before because I saw this question. I was curious. I think it was my Citizen V Marvel. I think that was the one that made me go like, oh, look, I didn't know they made action figures of Citizen V. Look at that. Like, that's cool. And then I ended up getting a billion of them. I'm going to grab a couple that are my favorites. Bring them right up. Okay. So I have a handful of them. And I'm just gonna, in no particular order. These are not my favorite, but like, I'll say this one. This is the, is a recent too, like a not re-release, but like it was a, Civil War Iron Man. And I just like this one because this head of Robert Downey Jr. is like perfect. I love, this is my favorite armor that Iron Man wears in the movies. Yeah, I like the one from Endgame, but I think the Civil War armor before that was maybe the best one. And yeah, this head sculpt is one where I show people, sometimes I'll be like, this is a picture of what these used to look like, and then this is what they look like now, and it's like, that's just him. They just got the guy there. So they're also behind me, Deathbird and Gladiator just showed up. Love them. And then on the other side, I don't know how well to see that. No, there they are. Punisher and Daredevil. Also love Daredevil fell over here. There you go, Daredevil. Their Daredevil figure is great. Okay, other one that I get. I also almost always like them more if they're gifts. That helps me like them. But I also think so I think X-Men 97 was huge for the Marvel Legends because it gave them an opportunity to A, make new versions of so many characters, but also B, like the comic bookiness of them, the cartooniness of them really lends to like fun expressions. This is the Madeline Pryor from the 97 wave. It's not like the greatest figure ever in terms of like the sculptor or whatever, but just like that face, they totally got it. She looks It's like that's a perfect look for that character. Never stands up, this one, so that's definitely not my favorite. Here's the Citizen V. I don't think I have his original sword. I think I gave him somebody else's sword, but this was the one that I think originally got me into collecting these, because I love him. I love that character. I love the idea of the Thunderbolts. I think they're so much fun. Let's say I don't have the rest of her stand here, but they just did the Gamerverse line. Has been insane. The Psylocke from the Gamerverse line is so good. Such a cool looking figure. Such a cool face, and I love that here. So just get to sit down. Wolverine from X-Men 2 or 3. I'm not sure which one they're. No, this has to be 2, because he has the dog tags, and he throws them at Stryker in 3, so he wouldn't have those. But yeah, this Wolverine is like an insane. Like, look at this face. The problem with this is I feel like the camera's not going to do it right. But let's see. Even the camera should know. Like, that's a man's face. You're looking. Oh my god, look at that face. It's incredible. Like it's love it. Okay, who else we got? Strong Guy. I have a Build-A-Figure version of Strong Guy. It's a slightly older one. Let's put him closer to the camera, see if he'll pick up his face. Cool figure. I like it. I like the size. I like how kind of big it is. That's all, really. He could be on that Teen Titans team. We don't really know what his childhood was like. I mean, we know he got his powers after he was hit by a bus, so it's presumably like a childhood thing. And then, so let's say 2 favorites here. Not for any particular reason. Didn't pick them at the same time either for the reason that you think. I do really like, there's a recent Iron Man wave or something that came with the She-Hulk that I think looks great. There was also a recent wave of, God, who even came with this? Banshee, I think, came with these little comics. So I gave the She-Hulk an X-Men comic to like hold, like in that classic cover where she's like, yeah, buy this or I'll rip all your X-Men comics up. So like, I love it. I think this is one of my favorite Marvel Legends, and I have this one kind of posed like this forever. I think this is fun. And then the one that really like blew my mind, and continues to blow my mind, especially when I put it next to the other ones, is the Gamerverse Juggernaut. This thing is enormous, and like, look at him. Look at him pick up little Citizen V in his hand, like just like a little Logan. It's crazy how big this guy is. Such a good figure. So cool. It comes with like interchangeable hands. Like, I love this. What I like about him, besides like all the articulation that they gave him, he's just huge. Like, it feels like the Juggernaut should feel. I've seen other versions of Juggernaut figures, and even ones from other lines that people use with Marvel Legends, and they look okay. But this guy is it's crazy. It's crazy right now that I have Gladiator and Juggernaut. I didn't have them like a month ago, but they could fight like they do in that cartoon. Anyway, that's the answer to that question. This one is from Anxious Pancake Princess 8608. What is my favorite bird? It's a great question. One that I don't have a great answer for right now. So like, let's say I like little birds. You know what? I like a good pigeon. You know, I think they get a bad rep. A lot of people don't like them because they are, they're kind of gross. But I think they're fun. They're kind of silly birds in a way that's fun. And they also coo. The cooing is nice. I definitely don't think they're like the most beautiful, majestic birds. I like owls. But like, you think about owls, it's like they are monsters. If you've ever been, people probably see these like nature demonstrations where someone will come in with like owls and kind of go around. They'll teach you about them. But like, owls are enormous. They've huge talons, and they're really mean. Like, they're beautiful birds and they're cool, great predators, whatever. But like, I don't want to hang out with them. Like a pigeon, I could see having a pigeon as a pet. They're just chill. And yeah, so that's my favorite bird. My second favorite bird, that bird right here from the Shi'ar Empire. Love her. This is brand new. I love this face. Look at this face. Oh my god, she looks so nuts. It's great. If anybody from the Marvel Legends team wants to reach out to me, and if there's some sort of creator program, I don't know if it exists. I've never spoken to them about this, but that would be cool. If you send me them, and then I'll talk about why I like them or whatever. Let's see. If I can manifest one Marvel pitch and one DC pitch rewrite into reality, which one would it be? This is Sam Witherington 8202. Marvel pitch, Great Lakes Avengers. I think it's very doable. Yeah, I haven't done that many DC pitches, so that's tougher. I'd say if I could manifest one of them into reality, it would be Like, I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, I feel like it's if we have to do one Marvel and one DC, I guess the DC one would be the Batman 2 pitch, which I think is really fun. But like, that one's tough because it's like, I'm sure what Matt Reeves is gonna make is cool. I mean, I'll say, like, I think I have ideas for other pitches that I would love to see. I've been thinking a lot about Man of Tomorrow, and I don't have a great pitch for it yet, but like, I've got some ideas. Out of all the live action superhero / villain costume designs we got, what are some of your favorites, and which comic ones would you like to see on the big screen? This is from Nadv Adele. Some of my favorite costumes. I mean, like, I think the MCU has done a great job. I love the Fantastic Four, the new Fantastic Four costumes. I think they're terrific. Not what you'd expect. Look great. Deadpool's got one of the best costumes, like, just translation wise. That looks perfect on screen. I really like the new Sam Wilson costume, with the costume that he wears at the end of that movie. I don't know what it is. I think I like the colors more than I like his, like, the costume they starts that movie with. I like the rolled up sleeves, even though it doesn't really make very much sense to have them, but like, it gives him kind of more of a, like, the idea is that he is kind of agile and quick, and I like that he feels like a guy who's just like, you know, I don't know, rolled up sleeves. I don't know why that really, like, that looks cool. Thor had 2 amazing costumes in Love and Thunder, and neither of them lasted very long. I loved his sleeveless shirt, like, vest costume from the beginning when he's one of the Guardians. Like, that costume's awesome. It has the Idrisil, like, t-shirt underneath it. Great. And then the costume he wears right after that when he goes to the planet to see the dead god, also great. That also gets removed, and the big silver, blue, and gold one replaces it, and I don't really like that one as much. I think those are great. I mean, Cap from Endgame is a really excellent costume. I'm looking at all the action figures now, because a lot of the time if I buy one, it's because the costume was great. Like, I think the Gambit costume is excellent from Deadpool and Wolverine. The Wolverine costume from Deadpool and Wolverine is great, although I like him better with the sleeves off. I don't have that figure out yet. And as much as I like the Fox X-Men movies, I almost never like the costumes because there's never enough going on. Like, they just don't commit the way that I want. Although I have high hopes for Cyclops in Doomsday, and Nightcrawler, and whoever else shows up there. Also, like, I don't love the Justice Gang costumes. Like, I think the Mr. Terrific costume is perfect, but like, I think a Guy Gardner costume should be more fun than that. I'm hoping we get more from him. First, other costumes I think would be cool to see in live action. It's a good question. If they hadn't done Gambit, I would say seeing a live action Gambit will be cool. Here's something. I think we have not seen what I would consider an, like, ultimate, like, iconic version of the Magneto costume on screen yet. I think we've seen better versions than other versions. I think there have been movies where he's played better, you know, than other movies. But in general, I don't think we have scratched, like, what is cool about that outfit and what's cool about that whole costume. Like, I hope Ian McKellen gets a good look, but I doubt he's going to have, like, the iconic Magneto look. I hope when that gets rebooted, we look back and go, oh my god, Magneto looks awesome. In that same token, like Apocalypse, pretty much all the X-Men villains should have amazing costumes. Sinister should have an incredible costume. Like the Brotherhood, Toad, Pyro, they should have amazing costumes. There should be so many cool costumes. And they just haven't really done them. The other X-Men is like Storm, should have a cool costume. She's gone through so many great looks in the comics. We haven't even kind of touched what that character can look like. Even when they gave everybody cool costumes at the end of X-Men Apocalypse, like the Cyclops costume, which is like the best Cyclops costume we've seen, even that Storm isn't even close to as cool as that character can look. Yeah, I'm hopeful that the Storm costumes in the future and that's why I'm like, part of me is like, I hope she gets her own movie, and that costume is just going to be insane. Who's my favorite comic book writer? Good question. This is Don Weasel Yeehaw edition. My favorite writer? It's probably Grant Morrison. I don't want to pretend I'm like, you guys know what books I read and who I like, and like, I like all of the people that, all the X-Men writers that everyone likes. I love Chris Claremont. I love Jonathan Hickman. I love Peter David, and those books are great. Like, there's so many writers that like are great and are still like going or like continue. Like, if you're talking about like contemporary writers, who's like someone that I see a book is out and I'm like, oh my god, gotta read that. Denny Camp is there now. Everybody loves like Absolute Martian Manhunter and Ultimates. We'll see. You know, I haven't read Assorted Crisis Events. But we'll see if that's like my new favorite thing. I mean, I love Robert Kirkman. Robert Kirkman's great. And I love like Tom King. I think Tom King takes a lot of big swings. Some of them are weird, but most of them are cool. But I would say like Grant Morrison, I think, is the best comic book writer alive, maybe? When people come up with that list, I don't know what that list is, but like Grant Morrison has so many incredible books. They did so much to like turn like characters around like franchises and injecting like new ideas into teams or like characters that didn't have any life. Like, and so much of what they've written has become like iconic. I can't help but love, you know, they're just the best. Oh, this is a good question. This is from Aiden Hampton 3546. Which character from Joey, the acclaimed spin-off of niche 90s sitcom Friends, should have gotten a spin-off show about their adventures in a different major American city? That's a great question. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Joey recently. I think... Oh, it's a tough one. Okay. Actually, honestly, there's some fun ones here. Bobby, the manager, send her somewhere else, Paris or something. Do like Emily in Paris, but Bobby in Paris, and have her be the obnoxious American manager overseas. Or just in a different city, you know. She's very LA, so maybe throwing her into doing like a Green Acres thing where you put her in like, you know, the Midwest and have her manage a, you know, farm. That could be fun. You've got Zach, who I think is a character on that show that I really enjoy. I can't quite figure out what his deal is, but I think he'd be fun to watch pretty much anywhere. Gina and Michael are weird. The thing with the Joey shows, there's not as many characters on it as you would expect, which is why I think it's hard to not pick Bobby as this spin-off character for Joey. And Bobby, for people that don't know, is played by Jennifer Coolidge, and she was very popular at the time. It's not quite the same kind of Jennifer Coolidge that we have today, but it's a similar vibe. Like, it's eccentric, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's a lot. And I think you could take that character and put him into a lot of different places. Just have them try to do something, and I don't know. They're just a kind of kooky character. It'd be fun. You know what you could do? You could take Bobby and I don't want Gina though. Bobby and some assistant, and have them go do something together. And the assistant is cool. Alex could be Bobby's assistant. I mean, she's a lawyer, but Bobby doesn't think she is. Anyway, she treats her like she's just a janitor. So yeah, those two, go send them to like anywhere to do anything. Send them to New Orleans to open up a jazz club and just see how that goes. So yeah, I think she's fun. Joey is lucky to have her. There's so many good questions here. I might do a second one of these. KTRA 5814 asks a question I think is interesting. If big stars generally don't sell movie tickets anymore, why do some animation studios still insist on using celebrity voicing characters as the main selling points of their animated movies? It's a good question. I think part of it has to be, I mean, some of them are good at it, right? I would say my big thing is like, I think there's some like wisdom to the idea that like, if you make a Mario movie, it needs to have something attached to it to legitimize it. So that it's not just some Mario movie. Like, oh, it's like some, I don't know, direct-to-DVD Mario movie. Who knows? It could still be the best-looking version of it, and it could have all the best voice actors, but you need something to tell parents, like, no, this is a go-to-the-movie-theater movie for, and I think Chris Pratt sends that message. I think having him do press is good. Like, I don't think you need him, I don't think he can open a movie. I mean, Chris Pratt kind of can. But, like, I think a lot of actors can't open a movie overseas anymore. But I do think if you see them in a movie, you go, oh, this is like a movie. It's hard to quantify that. And, like, it doesn't mean anything. You know, I think there's plenty of voice actors who are not well known. Like, and someone else brought up the question of, like, who would be a better Mario than Chris Pratt? The answer is so many people. But Chris Pratt is a movie star. Even if movie stars don't sell movies anymore, they do tell you that this is an expensive movie and that you should go see it in a theater. I don't know. I think it's something of that. And you know what it is? It's like board game boxes, kind of. It's like so many boxes for board games are bigger than the board game is. And sometimes it's like, oh, it's for expansions and it's a bigger box because you're going to get all the... But a lot of the time, it's just because they know this game is worth $20. And that's a very fair price to pay for a board game. But they also know it doesn't have as many pieces, maybe, but like that shouldn't be the only factor in how much you pay for a board game, right? Like a good $20 board game can have 1 million pieces or it can have 5. It could still be worth that much money. So what I'm saying is, instead of selling it as like a deck of cards, they'll put a deck of cards in an enormous box because you expect it to be in a box that big. If you're expecting it to cost $20, even if it's just cards, that could be in like a much smaller box. And I think it's kind of that where like even if the movie doesn't need Chris Pratt, you expect a movie that's going to make $1 billion to have someone like Chris Pratt. And it is, I don't know if this analogy makes sense, but I'm sticking with it. I'm going to say, like, I do think some voice actors, like Jack Black, you know, in the Mario movie, I think earned his paycheck big time by like turning in a very distinct, very memorable before. I don't think anybody would argue he shouldn't have played that role, right? Like there's other people in that movie that you're like, well, why even bother with him? But sometimes they are really good at it. And, he's one of those guys. Rapid fire, a couple others. Frost Miser asked, what is my position on the texture of a pineapple, outside or inside? So like the outside of a pineapple, interesting texture. It's cool, memorable, easy to draw. If you're a kid, that's handy. Inside, I'm not a big pineapple guy. I like the taste enough, but the like flesh of the pineapple or whatever we're calling it, not a big fan of. I don't think I'm allergic to pineapples. I don't have them enough to know. I'm allergic to a bunch of stuff. So I think I'm cool with pineapple. You'd think I'd know this, but like it just never, yeah. Mason Hawking YT, what do you lament the most about a post-Secret Wars MCU? I lament that we're setting up a lot of characters that I like Kate Bishop or Shang-Chi, that we won't have time for when the X-Men show up. It's really a bummer that as the superheroes Disney could make movies about increased, this amount of movies they can make decreased, right? They had to focus, and that's fine. I think that's good. But we have cool characters that we're probably not going to see very much more of, and that's a bummer. Carter D. Dawkins asked, what is the most frustrating part about the comic book / superhero industry, in your opinion? The most frustrating part about it, I mean, there's a lot, but I mean, a big part of it's that it's owned by two companies, and they're two mega companies, and they're constantly one of them is being sold a lot. So like that whole thing's complicated with what's going on with Warner Brothers. But I mean, even if Disney didn't own Marvel would be an enormous company now because of how successful these movies have been. I am actually very cool. Here's one thing. This isn't the most frustrating thing, but I think this is somewhat frustrating. I think this turns off certain people. I wish we would let characters stay dead, and I understand why bringing them back is fun. I get it, but I do think comic books killing death, destroying the idea that like this character's dead, and it just made books feel so light, and like the consequences, you knew this guy's going to be back, and I don't think it like ruined comic books or anything, because I'm sure like those books still sell a lot, and sometimes the stories about them are great, but I do think it's a weird problem this medium has that almost no other medium has, where it's just like if a character dies, they probably didn't though, or something. And especially if they're a really popular character, it'll be maybe a month before they'll be back. That's a bummer. That's a good question. John Carlini, 2978. Noticed Fancasting videos have gone by the wayside recently. I was curious as to why that is. Is lack of interest, underperformance, loss of reasonable topics, other projects taking up time? I'm curious as to what reasoning may have sparked the shift. Really just like not having great idea. Like I have documents that I have made and like that are potential videos, and I've got one for Wonder Woman, and I've got like 10 actors, different qualifications. I just can't pick one because they're all the same, or like not they're all the same, but none of them are more or less Wonder Woman than the other ones. And I have the same problem with Batman, where like Batman, it's like there's 50 actors that could play Batman right now. There's probably one or two that are more likely than the rest of them, but I don't think that like there's very little I can say that's like this is why this guy is Batman, because there's so many different versions of Batman. I don't know what James Gunn is doing with it. As far as casting X-Men, I could do that video again. I could take a whole nother shot at that, because I'll tell you what, and this is something that is, not really the question, but still, like if I get to do one casting guy over, Jonathan Bailey Cyclops, I think Marvel would be fools not to sign him within the next year or two, to just be, because he's perfect. He's the right age. He's got the right look. I think he's a very good actor. I think he's very new. Like he's popular. Kids like him. He's from Wicked. That would be exciting for people. I think he's really good for that role. But that's pretty much why. If I had one that I thought I was like felt really confident about, or like thought was really interesting, I'd make the video about it. But I had not had like a take on one that I think is worth doing. Epic Gamer 268, what are your thoughts on horror movies? Do you enjoy them? And what horror movie is your favorite? I always say I didn't used to be a big horror guy, and I feel like I've watched a lot of horror movies in the last couple of years. I wouldn't say they're like my favorite genre, and there's still a lot that I just do not want to watch. I don't like movies that are tons of jump scares, and I don't like movies that are like really, really gory. But if there's something there, I am totally interested. Like I think Weapons is currently maybe my favorite movie of the year. And I think that movie is just really fun, and it's not what you expect from a horror movie, but it's also not what you'd expect. Like it has a lot of the pieces that feel familiar, In the same way that like Nope has that too, right? Which was another movie that I loved from like last couple of years. So like, I think horror movies, I didn't really used to have any interest in them. But between those and then like Final Destination, which is like my other favorite movie this year, I think there's some good ones out there. Like it's been more of a thing for me. I think I've had more opportunities this year and the years prior to appreciate the kinds of horror that aren't just jump scares, and also the bad ones, like, you know, like Night Swim or something. Those are fun. All those are fun. Helmetness, what's your favorite soup? Not a huge soup guy, but I mean, it's a good question. I used to like chicken noodle a lot. Miso soup is my favorite soup. That's the soup I eat the most. I'm not a full like vegetarian. I'm pescatarian, but I do think that cuts a lot of the soups that I used to like out of soup contention. The former Boy Wonder 7194. Will you ever do a video on the video game Dispatch? Without a doubt. I will do a Nando Cut video on it. I might do a Nando V Movies video on it. I'm obsessed with it. I think it's a great game. I think it's so much fun. A lot of this time when I've been asking questions like, what's the thing you would like to write? What's the thing you'd like to write? In my head, I have to be like, whatever the Dispatch version of like the DC, like One Star Squadron or something like that. Like, cause I like the idea of the Dispatch universe. For people that don't know, I'll make a video about it, but it's an incredible game by a studio called Ad Hoc. It's got the Telltale kind of make choices, but the idea is you work at a company that dispatches superheroes that do kind of whatever, like odd jobs or fighting crime. But your whole thing is you decide which superheroes go, and the superheroes you have are the Z-listers. Like, they're not good, but they're also really fun versions of characters you're kind of familiar with. So like, there's a Magic on that team, there's a Dazzler on that team, and it's just a really well written show. So yeah, and they cast a YouTuber. At least one. Moist Critical is the voice of the Bat Sonar, which, so sorry to say, did not make it very long in my version of the game. But I don't know. I just prefer Coop. That's just me. I think that character is also great. But yeah, Dispatch is great. I'm gonna make a video about Dispatch. I'll make a video about all my choices and why I made them, but also maybe like what they could do in the future, because I really hope there's a second season of that. And then not just so that we can all romance Malala or whatever, just because I think there's more stories to tell. Other question, favorite musical artist? This is from Mist New Channel. And have I ever listened to Elio May? So the answer to the second question is no. Answer to the first question is like, I don't know. My musical taste is not, I listen to popular music. I'm a big fan. I think I've said this before definitely on Twitter, of like people that take songs that exist already and mash them up with other songs that exist already. Some of them are so complex and so fun. I would say my favorite 3 people doing it right now, and there's probably a billion that I'm not familiar with. TJ Cumberbund did oh man, these are so fun. They're not good, like they're not like good music where I'd be like, just sit down and put on headphones and listen to it. But like, so much fun for like driving, and fun because like I think there's something really fun about the idea of taking these different like pieces of music and just connecting them by a theme or like an energy, and making something that's fun. And what it feels like a lot of the time, and maybe this is overwhelming, and I know not everybody loves this, is like watching the Super Bowl where like artists are just coming out doing a little bit of their song, and then another guy comes out and does a little bit of his song, and it's just this really like, it's just the best of all of them. I don't know. So here's a DJ Cumberbund one. It's kind of recent. This one is Dragula APT. So this is like a bunch of songs, but this is mostly Rose, Bruno Mars, and then Rob Zombie. But there's a bunch of other stuff that they use. So that one's genius. My other favorite one, which I love, and they do so much cool stuff, is Titus Jones. This is just another mashup guy who takes like, a lot of them are really weird thematic things. So like he does a Halloween mix every year that is just songs that are kind of all about the same kind of horror things. A bunch of songs about snakes all mashed together into one thing. That's fun. They did a kind of 2000s inspired thing recently. Oh my god, yeah, they did a Power Hour recently. I'm too much into this. But yeah, these are the songs that like I listen to when I'm like at the gym, or they're just fun. And yeah, Titus Jones did a version of, it was the X-Men 97, or like the X-Men theme, with like Cool for the Summer and another song, and I can't remember the other one was like The Animal Inside of Me or whatever. And it was quick, it was only like a minute, but so so fun. I wish they expanded that into a whole song. So my music taste is bad because it's not like any specific thing. I like rap. I don't know if rock is fun. Broadway, so like show tunes and stuff like that are fun too. You know, I like enough of the dad rock, the stuff that like James Gunn puts in all his movies and shows now. That's also fun. I've seen U2 in concert like 5 or 6 times, including a couple times in the front row. So that maybe is my favorite thing. But I don't see a lot of live music. I was very excited to go see Gene Wigmore, but then they canceled the show this year, which was a bummer. She was in the States. I saw State Motel before the pandemic. But yeah, this is gonna make everybody angry. This is from Aiden Mannion, and this is a quick one. Should Dick Grayson end up with Starfire or Batgirl? Listen, I like my Teen Titans plenty. I think the Teen Titans are really, there's a lot of fun books, and I like the relationship between them. I really like the idea that Dick, more than Barbara, but also Barbara to some extent, are like characters that came through the Batman system together. They had somewhat tragic beginnings to their superhero stories, especially if you consider the beginning of Barbara's superhero story, the Oracle story. But I like the idea that like they're able to find each other, and as adults, like I'm fine with Batman never being happy. I would like Batman to be happy, but I guess I like the idea that like a loving relationship between these two people, like Dick and Barbara, can come out of the Batman system. And I guess it's true that it would be like a really good friendship is also nice. But like, yeah, I don't know. There's something about his relationship with Barbara that I personally find more compelling than his relationship with Starfire. I understand the appeal of Starfire. I like her dynamic with Dick is great, but I just feel like Barbara knows Dick Grayson in a way that like nobody else really, like that relationship is so special that the fact that they are on the table, like it's like they maybe, because if there was never any relationship thing between them, I would not be like, oh, they have to be in love. That's not my thing. But because they are, and like that's one of the options, I think that is the most interesting, especially looking at like some more recent runs. I really like the relationship that an adult Dick Grayson has with an adult Barbara Gordon. But I could be convinced if anybody has a argument against, or like a comic that like this is the one that really explains them better than anybody else, I'd love to hear it. But thank you so much for everybody for sticking around. And now here's the real sponsor bit for this video sponsor, Nebula. So I've already talked about Nebula in this video. It is a subscription streaming service that I helped to create along with a bunch of my YouTube friends. It's the best way for us to just make all the cool stuff we like to make and get it to you without having to deal with the algorithm or you sifting through a bunch of AI nonsense and ads. Like everything goes up right to Nebula. It goes up early. You can download it. There's also a trial. You can do a free 3-day trial of Nebula right now. So if you want to see like what it's like to use Nebula, or you want to check out Abolish Everything or some of our other original stuff, Jet Lag, people love Jet Lag. If you want to see Patrick Williams' new short film called The Dinner Plan, that will be on Nebula. And you can check out videos from so many other creators I know you already like, other people like Big Joel and Patrick Willems and NerdSync and Cinema Wins, Captain Midnight, Philosophy Tube, Man Carrying Things. So many creators you already like are on Nebula, and some of them are making original stuff that is only on Nebula. Also, a year of Nebula is just $60, so like $5 a month. But if you go to go.nebula.tv/thenandocut, you can get a year of Nebula for $36. That is $3 a month. We also have our Nebula lifetime memberships, which you pay $500 once and you can use Nebula for the rest of your life. And if you use my link, you can get it for $300 instead of $500. And also, the holidays are coming up. Nebula is a great gift. Like, sure, you could get someone a shirt they might wear a couple times, but for $36, you could give them a year subscription to Nebula. It supports the channels they love, and they get to watch all of our videos ad-free, which watching videos without ads is the greatest gift of all. It is an incredible deal. So if you don't believe me, use the free trial. Give it a shot. Take 3 days, try to watch as much Nebula as you can, and see if you don't love it, because I think you will. But that's all I got. Stay safe, everybody. I'll see you next time. Bye.